What's up, nerds? So the highest damage dealing sustainability character in Honkai Star Rail has just arrived, and his name is Aventurine. This dude is putting out sub-DPS damage on the right team compositions. So you know what that means. It's time to see where he landed on the tier list. So let's get into this. Alright, y'all know the drill. Let's see who we can piss off today by simply talking about the most well-respected tier list in the Honkai Star Rail community. We're here again at pridewin.gg. I'll put a link to this in the pinned comment and description below so you can come check this out for yourself. And I understand why this is sometimes controversial because sometimes we don't always agree with what the tier list has to say. For example, what the hell is Gepard doing down here in B tier? This makes absolutely no sense. They just bumped up Gallagher because of him being able to proc the talent of Acheron. But Gepard is better at proccing the talent for Acheron than Gallagher is. So why didn't you bump him up? What the heck is going on here? That makes no sense. What is Himiko doing getting bumped down to C tier? This makes no sense. This is a bunch of slander. So I totally understand why this can be controversial at times. But we'll talk about that stuff in a minute. Firstly, we gotta congratulate the mans. He is him. Aventurine is the new king of sustain because he actually has the damage potential of a sub-DPS character. I've seen this dude outperform Topaz in overall damage. That is crazy. Now, sure, yeah, of course, if you have, certain team compositions that are mainly focused around giving Topaz the damage, he can outperform Aventurine. It just depends on the enemy weaknesses, and it depends on how well invested your Aventurine is versus how well invested your Topaz is, etc., etc. But my point is that Aventurine is dealing sub-DPS damage, and he's a sustainability character, bro. He's a sustain, dog. If you don't believe me, you can come check for yourself. Here is an it's an Aventurine damage calculator, okay? I'll link this in the pinned comment and description below. This was put together by the IPC. That's what they want to call themselves. They'd like to remain anonymous, but they call themselves the IPC. And you can come check this out for yourself. You can input information for your build versus another build. You just come over here to the bottom. You can see summary, a build. You put in information. You enter in your own substats. You can put in different relics. You can go different relics over here. Sorry, this is where you put in light cones over here on the left. You can see in real time. There's even supports, by the way. You can even put the support buffs that you might be getting, such as Broken Keel from one of your other supports or something like that. And as you can see, by simply clicking a button, you immediately can see the changes in your damage output overall with the character. There's obviously some other stats over here, what you get in combat versus what you have outside of combat. A lot of different stuff here. I'll link this in the pinned comment and description below, as well as a video that I put out yesterday. It is a 30-minute full in-depth build guide for Aventurine to maximize your damage output. Come check that out if you're interested. I'll pin that in the pinned comment and description below as well. And I'll also put a video going over how to use this particular spreadsheet if you don't know how to use the types of spreadsheets. So Aventurine, this dude, easy S+ tier character. He may even be the new best sustainability character in the entire game. I understand that many players are gonna still think that it's Fu Xuan. But Fu Xuan is just comfy. Fu Xuan is a comfortable sustain. She's the average player's favorite sustain. But for sweaty players that want to be able to deal more damage throughout the entire, throughout all of combat, you're actually going to want somebody like Huohuo because you get the damage buff and the energy buff. Those are so invaluable because it's team-wide. It's team-wide. You also get a debuff from Aventurine on enemies that can increase your crit damage. He's a crit-based character as well, so this buffs himself while buffing the overall damage output of any DPS you could be using with him. Unless you're using him, you don't use him on a DOT team. He's bad on DOT teams. He's pretty much good just about anywhere else. He's gonna be really good on follow-up teams with like Topaz or Dr. Ratio. He's gonna be good with Acheron teams because he has a debuff that can proc for talent. He's a preservation character, so he can wear specific light cones that have debuffs as well that will also proc Acheron's talent, just so that you guys are aware. The best sustainability characters for Acheron are preservation units, such as Aventurine, Fushuan, Gepard. You can also use Gallagher, but he's a healer, and he's not as good as the other options. Gepard and Fushuan and Aventurine are simply better, which is yet another reason why Gepard should not be down here in B tier. Like, what happened here? He doesn't have enough pocket change to get on the bus. Like, he's gonna have to hitchhike his way up here to like A tier or something like that. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with you guys? What's going on? What are you guys smoking over there at Pridewin right now, man? What you guys smoking over there at Pridewin? Straight up. Can I listen? Whoever hooked you up, could I get 2 of those? Could I just get? Listen, how about I'll give you $50. You just give me whatever you can get me. Sweet, thanks, guys. Like, seriously, straight up. Like, what the hell is this? Why is Himiko down here? This makes no sense. This makes no sense at all. I don't understand. I think QQ and Sela need to drop down. I think that we need to fix this situation up here. Acheron needs to be like on her own tier, basically. I don't know what you got to do. Maybe you got to add another tier and then put Acheron on the top on the SS tier. Maybe Ron May and Sparkle on SS tier. Then you can bring Ting Yun up to S+ and Bronya up to S+. Leave Silverwolf here. Bring Pela up to S tier. That's what I'd be doing right now, because this makes no sense. I just feel like the reason why it's like this right now is because they're worried about making an SS tier, and then the meta shifts, and then all of a sudden it doesn't make sense to have the SS tier. So maybe what they should do is add an F tier, and then drop Arlen down to F tier, because let's be honest, bro. I mean, Asta deserves better. Listen, guys. Hashtag Asta deserves better. If you're still here watching this video, hashtag Asta deserves better in the comment section, okay? And then you bring some of these other characters down. Like, what the hell is Himiko doing on the same tier as Misha? Hello? Am I taking crazy pills right now? Like, what the heck is this? What is this? It's absolutely crazy. Some of this needs to change. Like 2 months ago, this tier list was so goated, and right now it's just kind of not. I'll admit though, hey man, at least you guys are fully aware that Aventurine is super duper bonkers good, but it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. Aventurine is dealing sub-DPS damage. He's not gonna be dealing the damage output of anybody you can see in the DPS slot over here. All of these characters will deal more damage than Aventurine right now. However, he's dealing sub-DPS damage. So you see some of these specialists, he's dealing the same damage as some of these specialists. That's crazy. He deals more damage than any other sustain. He deals more damage than any other support. Like, he's insane. He's actually insane. I'd say that for the truly sweaty players out there, that Wowo has really, really solid overall potential for the damage of your team, because not of her own personal damage, because she gives you that attack buff and the energy buff. That's so invaluable. It's so valuable to so many different teams. It's actually the truly, truly sweaty best sustain up to this point was actually Huohuo. The most comfortable overall best sustain was Fushuan, but the truly sweaty players like the 1%ers and stuff, Huohuo was the best sustain up to this point. But now, I'd say that Aventurine and Huohuo actually have the biggest like spike to your overall damage. His shields, by the way, are really, really strong. By the way, he might not ever even need to use his skill in battle to reapply the shield, because his talent gives and his traces give him fortified wager stacks. The stacks of his, he builds up a bunch of stacks of his shield, which also help build up his follow-up attack. And when as long as he's maintaining building up stacks of that shield, you literally, in some situations, never have to use his skill. Every once in a while, if you need a small amount of survivability, he might use his skill. But that's even more skill point efficient than some of these other preservation and healers. He's sometimes even better in certain situations than anybody else you could be using. So, is he the best sustainability character in the entire game right now? That's a little bit hard to say. Forewarning, obviously this is a little bit clickbait. I should have, sorry about that. That was me, by the way. This should have a question mark on it. But I'll admit I'm clickbaiting a little bit. But it might be true. This bro might be like number 1 or 2 for the truly sweaty players right now. The average player is still gonna think that Fu Xuan's better. And honestly, if your account is not that high powered, Fu Xuan will still be the better character for you. Right? Because her survivability is insane. But if you are a truly sweaty player, or you really, really like the meta, the new meta sustain is gonna be definitely Aventurine, or of course you have Whoa. Locha fell off. Locha already fell off. This dude literally only heals. You know, Lynx and Locha, the best things they got on him is like they got the dispel and they got a cleanse, and that's all great and everything. But just besides that, it's just survivability, bro. You know, Fu Xuan, Aventurine, they actually provide stuff. They provide support functionality. That's invaluable. These 3 right here are goated. These 3 are goated. I wouldn't even bother with anybody. Oh, Gepard's really good too. I really like Gepard as well. I really like Gepard. And you know what? Bailu's a little bit underrated. I'll say it right here, right now. Bailu's a little bit underrated, but not as reliable as Gepard or any of these other 3. But I'm so mad about that. Why is Gepard down here? This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. Anyways, there's a lot more I could say about like some of these other choices that they've made with some of these slots. But I'm gonna let it go for now, because there's a problem with Acheron being introduced into the game with this particular setup right here. You know what I mean? The best characters in the game right now are Ron May and Sparkle, but oh man, it's really, really tough, man. I don't know if you add another tier or what you can do to fix the tier list, man. It is a tough situation. I can't argue with Specialist though. This column right here, this column is actually so right. Unless you're running Sustain Welt, then Welt deserves to be higher. But if you're not running Sustain Welt, then yeah, I see him being down here in B or maybe low A. But yeah, I pretty much agree with all of what's going on here in Specialist right now. I think Pela needs to be up higher. I think QQ Sealy need to drop down. It's finally time, guys. It's finally... You guys need to accept that Sela and QQ, it's finally time to drop them down, bro. It's finally time. I don't know if I agree with Argenti being in B. We need to bring him up. Himiko needs to come up. What is this slander? Maybe you need to make an F tier. Maybe that's the play. Maybe that's the play. Make an F tier, and then drop some of these characters down. That'll give you some room at the top to kind of fix all of what's going on over here. But anyways, let me know if you're pulling Aventurine. This guy was super duper underrated. I'm gonna be making another video going over how you and everybody was wrong about this guy. This guy's damage is noteworthy. He is really, really good, and he can be a real game changer to a lot of players, okay? This is just the truth. Anyways, I've been yapping for way too long. I'll see you guys in the next one. If you're interested, check the pinned comment and description below for more content about Aventurine, and I'll see you later. Peace out.